It is Malaysia's lost world. Our distant ancestors first came here to this lush valley almost 2 million years ago. And over eons of time they kept on coming. To live in this little paradise, tucked away in the limestone peaks of Perak. They sheltered in its numerous caves and drank from its rivers. They exploited its bedrock to make stone tools, refining their skills generation after generation. It was here at one of the crossroads of the ancient world that archaeologists found our most celebrated Southeast Asian ancestor. They call him Perak Man. His bones take us on a journey back into a distant past. This is the Lenggong Valley, one of the world's most important archaeological sites. Today, life in Lenggong Valley centers around the town of Lenggong, almost 300 kilometers north of Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia's capital. It is a gateway that leads us back into the ancient past. Lenggong Valley is a World Heritage Site. Some of the world's most exciting archaeological finds have been made right here. There are two main archaeological sites at Lenggong, referred to simply as Cluster 1 and 2. Cluster 1 comprises the very rare open-air sites of Kota Tampan and Bukit Bunoh. In 1987, Professor Datuk Zuraina Majid was excavating a site at Kota Tampan, and what she unearthed that day opened a window into the lives of our ancient ancestors, an undisturbed Stone Age workshop.
We opened up a few trenches there, and I was very surprised that it was an undisturbed site. Now, an undisturbed site is like jackpot, because it's going to tell you the story. You'll be able to piece together the story. And to get an undisturbed Paleolithic site is rare.
The Paleolithic period is also known as the Stone Age, where stone tool technologies were the foundation of this ancient culture.
During Paleolithic times, the culture revolved around stone as the raw material, and the technology for stone tool was the basis of their culture.
For archaeologists, a discovery like this may come just once in a lifetime. Kota Tampan has revealed many insights into the minds of these ancient tool makers, about their choice and understanding of materials and their techniques.
We cannot just look at tool morphology, but we have to consider what went on in their minds when they were making the stone tools, how much they knew about what they were doing. They were really pretty advanced. They knew exactly what type of raw material would make sharp stone tools, and they used the best that was around that would give them the sharpest edge, and they also flaked it in such a way that they could use it for the tropics. So that really showed that they were aware of the lithology of stone. They knew their geology. It was as if they had taken Geology 101. You know, of all the stone types available, they had chosen the best.
The archaeologists discovered numerous clusters of stone tools. It looked as if groups of tool makers had once been working the raw stone in a systematic way. This was once a Stone Age production line. From clues at the site, Professor Datuk Zuraina's team discovered that long ago, Kota Tampan was a lake environment, a fertile area well suited to human activity.
Many thousand years ago, a lake existed in the Kota Tampan area, and that lake was created by a natural landslide. Many people lived around that lake. You have water, you have protection on one side, you have your fish and that kind of thing. It's not a peculiar situation. Everywhere else, but you have a lake, you are bound to find old settlements.
The archaeologists had a fascinating glimpse into the world of Stone Age Kota Tampan. But they were still in the dark about how long ago these tool makers had been at work and why the workshop had been abandoned. Then Professor Datuk Zuraina made a breakthrough discovery that would eventually reveal the whole story of Kota Tampan.
I saw a speck of grey in this terracotta earth. So I thought maybe it's the Toba ash. So I said, let me take a sample. Sure enough, that was a Toba ash. And we found that that ash was found all around the floor of this stone tool workshop. That was really another moment of excitement, because that meant we would not only know the date, but we would also know the cause of abandonment of the site.
The ash Professor Datuk Zuraina had found was a kind of time signature. The ash originated from the eruption of Mount Toba in Sumatra. Scientists have dated this event, the most violent volcanic catastrophe in the last 2 million years, to about 74,000 years ago. Mount Toba literally exploded, hurling a massive cloud of ash 80 kilometers high and extending as far away as India. It turned day into night. Kota Tampan is just 250 kilometers from Mount Toba, so the eruption would have devastated the world of the tool makers here, forcing them to leave behind their workshop and tools. Professor Datuk Zuraina's discovery sent shock waves across the scientific world. More than 30 archaeologists from around the globe descended upon Kota Tampan to see for themselves the startling evidence of such an ancient Paleolithic site in its original context. One of the scientists fascinated by Datuk Zuraina's discovery was human geneticist Stephen Oppenheimer, an expert on human migration.
Kota Tampan is one of those places where there are stone tools found, and they're in a very specific context. When I mean context, that means the surrounding material. And in the case of Kota Tampan, the surrounding material was the ash of the Toba volcano. Datuk Zuraina has found stone tools in that region which are associated with the ash, and the dating of the ash is 74,000. And the dating of the tools has also been done by independent means recently, which agrees in general with that 74,000 date. Now this means if those stone tools were made by modern humans, then modern humans were present in Southeast Asia before 74,000 years ago.
Scientists believe that modern humans evolved in Africa and then embarked on a global journey across Asia and into the Malay archipelago and beyond. The dates for the tool-making workshops at Kota Tampan had played a crucial part in the understanding of human migration. All over Lenggong Valley, Malaysian archaeologists are unearthing evidence of ancient lifestyles. Another dramatic discovery was made at Bukit Bunoh, where Dr. Mokhtar Saidin discovered a Stone Age hand axe embedded in a boulder made of a very rare kind of rock called suvite.
Pada penghujung 2009, kita temui alat batu di dalam batuan suvite. Suvite ialah batuan metamorf yang terbentuk akibat jatuhan meteoroid di sebuah kawasan yang menyebabkan batuan asal di kawasan berkenaan lebur membentuk batuan baru.
Rocks like this can be dated, and they determined that the hand axe itself had been made at a later date. The results astonished archaeologists.
Selepas kita hantar pentarihan, dia memberikan tarikh 1.83 juta tahun. Ini menunjukkan telah ada satu kelompok manusia awal sebelum 1.83 juta tahun yang merupakan tarikh impact meteoroid.
This remarkable time span makes the Lenggong Valley one of the most significant Paleolithic sites in the world. Discoveries equally as dramatic have been made at Cluster 2, which comprises the Bukit Jawa open-air site and 2 limestone massifs, Bukit Kepala Gajah and Bukit Gua Harimau. Bukit Jawa has evidence of in situ open-air workshops and stone tools that date back to 200,000 to 100,000 years ago. Plenty of stone tools have now been discovered in the Lenggong Valley, but for a long time archaeologists found no trace of the ancient people that made them. The problem for Malaysian archaeologists is that the tropical climate and acid soils usually destroy organic materials, making the discovery of human remains very rare. But the team did not give up. They concentrated their efforts on the Bukit Kepala Gajah Massif, a karst limestone outcrop riddled with more than 20 caves. For our ancient ancestors, caves were refuges. Was this the place to start looking for human remains? One cave in particular caught Professor Datuk Zuraina's attention. It is called Gunung Runtuh. It is 150 meters above sea level with the luxury of 3 entrances.
A cave is a natural home for early man. It's got its walls, floor, ceiling, and sometimes more than one entrance. In this particular case, it also is air-conditioned. It's rather cool and comfortable, dry and with sufficient light for them to live.
In 1990, Professor Datuk Zuraina decided to excavate the site.
When we get to a cave, we do not know exactly where to excavate until we have searched for surface finds. That is an indicator of habitation.
Slowly, meticulously, the archaeologists began investigating this intriguing new site. And in May 1990, they found at last what they had been searching for so long: a fully intact human skeleton.
We were fortunate that we found a skeleton here, and it's always exciting when you get skeletons because a skeleton holds a lot of secrets to life at that time.
The bones were fragile, brittle, and broken. They had to be handled with care. Professor Datuk Zuraina realized at once that this was a groundbreaking find. So as the bones were tenderly removed one by one, the position of every other artifact was precisely recorded.
You know, when you see a skeleton, you really don't know how significant it's going to be until you study it. And the more you study it, the more details you get, and you get stronger evidence. And then when you get the total picture, then that's the exciting moment. That's Eureka.
Professor Datuk Zuraina assembled an international team to analyze the find and unravel its mysteries. The lead paleontologist was the renowned Indonesian professor Teku Yaakob.
Bones and teeth tell a lot of story about themselves, that if we can understand the language of the bones, then there are many things they can tell you.
One thing the bones told Professor Yaakob was that this enigmatic individual was a male. So he got a name, Perak Man, after the Malaysian state where his remains had been found. As Yaakob continued his analysis, he realized that the bones had a powerful human story to tell.
And I saw the hand bones. It's something unusual because you have very short middle phalanx, especially on the left side, you see.
As an expert anatomist, Yaakob understood immediately what these clues implied.
So this anomaly is called brachymesophalangia. This anomaly is rather rare, even in living population. And then in archaeological material, I have never seen one reported.
Brachymesophalangia is an inherited genetic disorder that causes fingers and limbs to develop differently. Not only is the disease very rare in modern people, evidence of it has never before been found in bones this old.
The left arms and the left leg are shorter than the right ones, so his gait is a little different because of the leg bones are not equal.
The discovery that Perak man suffered from this rare disease adds significantly to our knowledge of medical history. Yaakob made another startling discovery. Perak man had a distinctly curved spine, which could have been caused by his gait, but also suggested he might also have been afflicted with cerebral palsy. Perak man was a challenged individual, but his bones tell us that despite his disabilities, he lived till a ripe old age, between 40 to 45 years old, almost twice the average lifespan then. What could explain this man's long life? According to Yaakob, the most convincing explanation is that the Perak man was well cared for by his community. He might even have been revered as a special individual. The evidence for this is by the way he was buried. He was carefully placed in his grave in a kind of fetal position. He was provided with offerings for the afterlife, comprising various stone tools and 5 different types of meat, including shellfish. This strongly implied that Perak man was highly valued in life and communally mourned in death.